My parents bought my girlfriend an expensive designer bag, but she refused to open it for over a week. I decided to open it for her, and it went horribly wrong. Hey everyone! So, I'm a 28-year-old guy, and my girlfriend is 27. Recently she celebrated her birthday, and we had a small get-together at our apartment. She feels kinda awkward opening gifts in front of people, and all our friends know this, so she opened their gifts privately later that evening. 2 days after her birthday, my parents' gift arrived. They're pretty well off and got her this designer handbag she had been eyeing during our last visit. They bought it that weekend and had been saving it for her birthday. She thanked them before opening it and said she'd let them know once she did. The box just sat on our dresser for a couple of days, and then my parents texted, wondering if she had opened it yet. I asked her about it, and she just shrugged and said she'd do it soon. I was also super excited to see her open it because I knew it was something she really wanted. A few more days passed, and my parents checked in again. At this point, my girlfriend asked me to tell my parents to back off because she was feeling pressured about it and didn't want to open it yet. Honestly, I didn't get it. I told her that it seemed simple enough to just open it and send a thank you text, just like she did with our friends' gifts. She got really frustrated and said I didn't understand how uncomfortable it made her. About a week after the gift arrived, my parents texted me privately, asking if she liked the bag. I told them she hadn't opened it yet. They worried they might have overstepped or made her uncomfortable in some way, which wasn't like her usual response to their gifts. At this point, I thought it was pretty rude not to open the gift and acknowledge it. She went out with friends last night, so I decided to open it for her and display the bag on the dresser, thinking it would ease the tension. When she got home and saw the bag, she was really pissed. She said she felt awkward about the expensive gift and wasn't ready to open it yet. I tried explaining that she was being a bit rude, but she said it was even ruder of me to open it for her. We went to bed after that, and she was still upset this morning. Someone commented that I should tell my parents not to give her gifts if it makes her so uncomfortable. They suggested that if she didn't appreciate it, we could return the gift and explain the situation to my parents. They also mentioned needing an explanation from my girlfriend to understand her anxiety better and protect her in the future. If she couldn't explain it and continued acting unappreciative, they suggested breaking up, as it's hard to live with someone who creates drama over small things. Another commenter thought my girlfriend might have some form of untreated OCD, noting that several friends had mentioned her tendencies that align with OCD. They asked for elaboration, as they didn't immediately associate her behavior with OCD. Lastly, someone asked if our relationship had been good recently and if there had been any fights or issues that could explain her discomfort accepting a gift from my parents. I reassured them that our relationship is great and that I didn't think she was avoiding the gift because of any problems between us. To wrap it up, while some people thought it was reasonable not to open gifts in front of others due to social pressure, it wasn't as reasonable to avoid doing it privately. They suggested she might need professional help to address her anxiety. As for me, I probably shouldn't have opened it and should have just explained to my parents that she has gift-opening anxiety and to be patient. Update. I wasn't planning on updating, but there are things I wanted to address. Most importantly, my girlfriend and I are still together. Not once did it cross my mind that I thought my girlfriend was dodging the gift because she wanted to break up with me. We've been together for 3 years and have a really loving relationship. I messed up big time in this situation, but I'm confident we'll get through it. I was raised to always be polite and send thank you cards, which it seems some people in the comments can relate to. But let me be clear. My parents weren't bombarding us with texts or harassing my girlfriend over this gift. We have a group chat, and they sent a follow-up text every other day or so, just wondering if she'd opened it. They're definitely nosy Midwestern parents, but they were genuinely excited and coming from a good place, not trying to pressure her or anything like that. My girlfriend has mentioned before that she feels uncomfortable opening gifts in front of people because she hates the pressure of reacting a certain way and thinks it can be a bit awkward. Usually if someone gives her something, she'll open it in private. Like on her birthday, I left her gift by the bed and went to get breakfast. When I came back, she'd opened it and was really happy with it. So I was confused about why she hadn't opened this particular gift. I really thought I was helping by opening it, though I now realize I was wrong. I never intended to manipulate or control her. I admit, I was just too eager to see her joy, and that overshadowed my better judgment. When we got home from work yesterday, we sat down to talk it out. I started by apologizing for ruining the surprise. She told me she had called my parents during her lunch break to thank them, and that she was both excited and anxious about the gift, especially because she'd had a feeling it was something expensive she wanted. She said that by the time the package arrived, her hopes were up, and she felt guilty because she was anxious about what she'd feel if it wasn't what she expected. Her anxiety just kept building up as the unopened package sat there. She apologized for not communicating this to me earlier. I understood, and I know I jumped the gun a bit. We also talked about neurodivergence, and I appreciate everyone who shared their experiences with anxiety, autism, and OCD. It's not the first time my girlfriend has been told she might have autistic or OCD tendencies, though she's unsure if she wants to pursue a diagnosis right now. There were comments like, "I'm guessing this is the last time your parents will buy her a nice gift. They spent a lot of money on it." I understand their perspective. All my parents wanted was to know that their gift was appreciated. But love and relationships are complicated, especially when you're dealing with neurodivergence. My girlfriend needs to work on this skill, and it's not easy. Another commenter said, "It's better that you opened it. She was spiraling into anxiety and might have left it unopened until Christmas." I get it now. She was really stressed out, and I should have been more patient. Some people were saying I didn't mess up at all and that my girlfriend's behavior was hurtful to my parents. But it's more complicated than that. We need to communicate better and understand each other's perspectives. I think if we explain everything to my parents and my girlfriend seeks therapy, it could really help with future gift-giving situations. My parents probably don't fully understand the severity of her anxiety. If my girlfriend is comfortable, we can lay it all out and give my parents more clarity and reassurance. One commenter pointed out that if you have behavioral quirks and don't get evaluated, it's tough for others to understand and deal with them. My girlfriend isn't necessarily in the wrong. She's just struggling with anxiety and the feeling of being unworthy of a gift. This situation sucks, but no one is really the villain here. Anyway, that's the gist of it. We're doing the best we can, and here's hoping things get better from here. Now, on to the next story. So, here's the deal. I recently found out my dad stole my identity, opened up 3 credit cards in my name, and withdrew a whopping $155,000. Naturally, this has completely trashed my credit score. I'm in the process of trying to buy a house, so you can imagine how freaked out I am. It all started when I went to get pre-approved for a mortgage. The lender told me they couldn't give me a home loan because of these defaulted credit cards. They even gave me a piece of paper listing out what steps I'd need to take to fix my credit situation. When I tried to dispute the charges, one of the accounts was already in collections, and the disputes were closed because the debts were verified. I told my divorced parents about what was happening, and their reactions couldn't have been more different. My dad brushed it off, saying these things happen, and that I should have been more careful with my Social Security number. That comment really pissed me off because I've always been careful. My mom, on the other hand, thinks my dad might be behind it all. She mentioned he had secret credit cards during their marriage and accumulated around $50,000 in debt, which partially led to their divorce. A few days ago, I casually told my dad that I'm going to have to file a police report for the fraud. He tried to convince me not to, saying $155,000 isn't that much money in the grand scheme of things. When I explained that it's stopping me from buying a house, He suggested I just wait a few years until the negative marks fall off my credit report. Apparently, he thinks I should wait another 4.5 years. That's ridiculous. So I insisted I had to file the report. He got more serious and told me he had used my info to open the cards to pay for living expenses because his work had slowed down. He said going to jail would ruin his life and begged me not to report it. Even though I'm leaning towards going to the police, I'm still conflicted. I've got all the paperwork ready and plan to make the report today. I just need to be sure this is the right move, especially since I really want to buy a house this year. Update. I spent half the day reading everyone's comments, and they solidified my decision. Reporting it was easier than I thought. I went to the police station, waited about 10 minutes, and then spoke with an officer for around 15 minutes. He made copies of all my paperwork and informed me that the case would be assigned to a detective. He also explained that if charges are pursued, my dad might get some kind of court supervision or probation since it's his first felony. He probably won't go to jail for years, but he will spend some time behind bars if picked up on a warrant. I've accepted this because it's clear my dad did this on purpose. Hopefully, this will be a wake-up call for him. He'll keep you all updated as things develop. For now, I'm hoping my credit score recovers quickly so I can get back to house hunting. Update 2. The past few days have brought some good news, a bit of bad, and some really bad developments. The good news is that I used my report number to dispute all the fraudulent accounts. One of the cards with the lowest balance has already been removed from my credit report. I'm hoping the rest will follow soon. I also got a call from the prosecutor's office asking if I'd be willing to testify if they charge my dad, and I said yes. They will decide on the charges by the end of the month. The bad news is that someone must have told my dad what's going on because he scolded me for going to the police and hasn't spoken to me since. One of my brothers is also mad at me and hasn't talked to me in over a week. However, the rest of my siblings and my mom understand my position. The really bad news is that another one of my brothers found 2 open credit cards on his report that weren't his. His credit score has dropped about 150 points. Now, he's dealing with the same mess I am. It's just a lot to handle right now. So we don't have concrete proof yet that our dad is the one responsible, but all signs are pointing that way. It's still mind-blowing to me that a dad could do something like this to his own kids. But hey, I'm moving forward anyway. My goal is still to buy a house before the end of the year. On another note, my siblings, there are 6 of us in total, are all checking their credit reports too, which is probably a smart move at this point. So, here's my final update. This whole thing has gone viral and made its way to some pretty big websites. The good news is my credit is back to normal. All those disputed accounts have been wiped clean, which is such a relief, because now I can focus on building a solid financial future. 2 weeks ago, I got a letter from the prosecutor's office saying they plan to move forward with what is basically an identity theft charge against my dad. I spoke with an assistant prosecutor who mentioned they'll issue a warrant soon, but since it's his first offense, they'll likely offer him a misdemeanor charge and a plea deal. Last Friday, my dad got arrested during a traffic stop but was out of jail the next day. His next court date is in late August, according to public records. He called me and said I'm dead to him and told me never to contact him again. As for my brother, he also found credit cards opened in his name and made a police report, but the addresses on those accounts were different. He was told it's unlikely his case will be prosecuted, but he's working on getting those accounts off his credit report. To everyone who commented on my previous posts, I just wanted to say thanks. You've all given me the courage to deal with this. I'm planning to delete this throwaway account because I really want to move on from all of this. Between the news articles and cutting off contact with my dad, it's been a lot to handle. Don't let things like this catch you off guard. It breaks my heart to have to do this to my dad, but he brought this upon himself.